It's week 11, and we're on the home stretch. This week on
Big Brother.
Our Cloud in Brooklyn Can't Believe It.
The season's almost
We're in the home stretch.
over.
And I think, as we said last week, it's just a lot of big players in the end. And sometimes people have to go. And this week, a big one finally went. Your guy. Your guy.
Boo. Keanu goes home.
I feel like Keanu's biggest mistake, and he even like you could see it running through his head when he knew that he was going, is just how shocked he was by the disloyalty from Vince. When Vince has shown his cards the whole season.
But Vince also saved him in a week where Vince had to break the tie. Something that Vince has been doing all season with everybody is misleading people.
I think we call that breadcrumbing, where you like give people a little breadcrumb, but then you like slash their tires. You're like, here's a little snack, but oh, I'm gonna take you out. And because you feel like you did the same thing with Lauren during the White Locust.
He did it with everybody. He's even done it with Morgan. Everybody that he's been in any sort of alliance with, he's at the end of the day kind of backstab.
Do you think that Vince has messed up his game by doing this?
1,000%. Vince's jury management has been horrible. And I truly believe Vince cannot win this game against either Ashley or Morgan. Even though Ashley's game has been horrible this far, jury management wise, I feel like Ashley will find more votes in that jury than Vince would.
I hear you, but I think historically we have to look at what we see in juries. And juries can be really, really salty when they get sent to the jury house from day one. But then once everyone kind of starts chatting and talking, they kind of get over it a little bit because they all kind of come back to, oh, it's just a game, it's not personal. And I feel like in the case of, let's just say Vince takes Ashley, I don't think Ashley has done enough. Are people there that could vote for her? Sure. Does she have like great jury management? Yes, but you have to do more than manage the jury. You can't win by just not pissing anybody off. You're going to piss somebody off. She has not won anything. She has not made any huge decisions. She has not led the charge to do anything of significance. She literally floated in the background, chatting Will's ears off until he fell asleep. She was basically a human sound machine for Will the whole season. That is not enough to win a game. And anybody who loves Big Brother, even though I completely agree, like, I think Vince is going to have one hell of a time making up for the mistakes that he's made in his alliances. But I just don't think that Ashley has enough to beat him.
I just go down like the jury members. Rachel, Ashley was like
Puppy?
her puppy. That's a vote, I think, for Ashley.
Game respects game,
all right,
regardless.
but
Rachel's not a newbie here.
okay, but still, I feel like Rachel would vote for Ashley. They're close. Will would also vote for Ashley. Ava would also vote for Ashley. Then maybe for sure, like Lauren, Kelly could get over their whole beef with Vince and vote for him. Maybe same as Keanu. But if Morgan gets voted out because of Vince, I think the wound would be fresh enough to where she would also vote for Ashley. And she's been close with Ashley all season as well.
One thing I will say that I do completely agree with is I think that if Vince takes out Morgan, it will just solidify all of the negative thoughts that everybody has about Vince.
1,000,000%.
Because everybody's going to say, wow, like you can't be loyal to like one person,
Yeah.
not what you had to screw every single person over here to get to that point. And I do agree, like that would be really, really tough. I just think it's hard because I just don't see a case.
Let's just put this out there right away. Vince has no chance of beating Morgan.
100%.
I think Morgan has this game in the bag. As long as she makes it to final two, she's winning the game. Vince, on the other hand, I feel like he realizes that against Morgan, he doesn't have a chance. She's won 5 vetoes in a row and a couple of HOHs, 2 or 3 HOHs in that time as well. Like her game towards the end here just kind of like took off.
We need to post the flashback. I don't remember what week it was. I could probably scroll and find it. Where we literally said, Morgan needs to win.
For
We
sure.
said this. What is she doing? She needs to win. And then all of a sudden it's like her switch turned on and she was like, wait a second, I'm a gamer.
Yeah.
And like the gamer Morgan really showed up. And I do love that for her.
I think this
She's
was
killed it.
early on though. It was pre-jury, I think. I think Mickey
Probably
was
pre
still in the
jury.
game.
No, for sure.
Once the numbers start dwindling down, like Morgan came out to be a very strong
For
competitor.
sure. Out of
Within the
nowhere.
girls, like once Lauren got voted out, like none of those girls had a chance. Like Ashley and Ava had no chance against Morgan. Morgan, 1,000% is going to win this game if she makes it to final two. And I think Vince might have the idea that if he gets Morgan out, that's going to give him something to be able to win the game. And I think that will also backfire.
It could absolutely backfire.
So I think Vince has no chance of winning this game.
Yeah.
He is guaranteed a second place, maybe even who knows what happens, but he might even end up in third.
I mean, I hear you. I think that he's in a predicament of his own creation. He's dug himself a really, really deep hole that is going to be so hard to get out of. I just think, in terms of historically, I mean, even like think of somebody like Josh, who won, who terrorized the entire house, and people still voted for him to win. I just don't think that people who love the game would ever say that Ashley deserves to win, but it would be really, really awful, and he would have so much explaining to do if he took out Morgan, because it would be a terrible look for him. And I don't know if I imagine how he feels. He was even ruminating on whether or not he has a girlfriend still. Like, this guy is spiraling right now.
Speaking about explaining to do,
You mentioned Lauren, and speaking of Lauren, he told Morgan with a veto around her neck today that Lauren would have been just as good as her
yeah,
to get him to the end.
for sure in that part, he was just like diarrhea through the mouth. Like he was just talking too
I
much.
was like, stop
He
talking.
even realized it in the diary. Like he was saying, like, why am I even saying these things? But I think Morgan straight up is in love with Vince. Her talking about the percentages
Oh,
of the love that she has for him.
makes me itch.
Big Brother production, amazing job throwing all the formulas out there, and I was confused. Might as well have been like Calculus 1. He definitely has some explaining to do. I don't even think he's in a relationship anymore. I agree with him. I think he's most likely a single man right now.
Yeah.
Morgan's shooting her shot. She gave him a little bit of something there, letting him know, hey, it's not zero. There's something going on here.
It was so uncomfortable. I mean, you can see it, right? Like, everybody's known, even before they want to admit that they knew. They're just so intertwined, because even when they were laying in the HOH room and Morgan was saying something about how, if one of us is sitting next to Eva or Ashley, then we're basically guaranteed to win. And he's sitting there saying, like, are you going to take me out? Like, are you going to use the veto? Like, what is this? And he slipped this one sentence in that said, like, are you sure what you're thinking about has to do with the game? Or something like that. The lines have blurred so much with them that they even check in with each other on whether or not this is personal or game. And I think that's probably the hardest part about this game, is like, it is so personal,
Yeah.
right? Like, you can say it's just game, but at the end of the day, it is so, so personal, because we're people, we're just humans.
For sure.
And you get wrapped up and attached and folded into other people. And yeah, it was really uncomfortable to watch that, knowing that he has a girlfriend or had a girlfriend.
If you look up emotional cheating in a dictionary, there should be a picture of Vince.
For sure.
He is the prime example of somebody that, no, he hasn't crossed the line per se physically with Morgan. They haven't like made out, or as far as we know, right?
They would show that, don't you think? They're a little petty. They're shady on there.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Well,
they showed the equations. Okay, they showed the probability
sure.
math going on here.
They definitely are like a couple, like they're an actual couple. Like the things that they've done throughout this season, and I just get flashbacks of like all these things, like fighting, her taking a shower, and having this like whole argument, like a married couple, just sleeping together. Him thinking that just for the fact that she sleeps with her head towards the other way, but they sleep in the same bed every single night, that somehow is okay.
Do you imagine that you came home, you were like, yeah, another girl slept on my bed, but don't worry,
Yeah, don't
her
worry. She
head
had her
was
hair.
at the end of the bed by my feet.
Exactly.
It's fine. I would have been like, are you insane? Sorry to Vince for, again, his own problems that he has created by not really having any boundaries as far as like how far he's willing to go to win the game. And I think that
That's the thing too.
that's
That's probably,
part of
and
it.
I've had this thought of like, how far would you go
Hmm.
if I ever went into Big Brother? How far would I go in order to try and win this
If you
game?
could flirt with somebody to win the game,
I probably
knowing that you
would.
have a wife and
I
kids.
probably would.
Noted.
I'm
Noted
just
for the
saying,
viewers at
it's
home. CBS is going to
$750,000.
find this I'm going to send this footage to CBS.
I'm just saying, hey, in Spanish we would say "se vale todo." It's just like, if the amount of money that you're winning, like, you would know that it's not real, but I don't know their relationship. Like, but if I had to flirt my way to $750,000, I'd be putting out full stops the whole.
Yikes.
But shame on you, Vince. He went past flirting
Yeah,
is
he
the
went too
problem.
deep. He went too,
Like,
and you can see they just keep teetering into it with the conversation of them talking about whether or not Morgan's going to use the veto, and where he automatically goes from like, oh, she can't possibly be thinking that this is a good game move. This must be something personal because I have a girlfriend and because we had this probability conversation. Like, ugh, I hope he finds a great therapist at the end of this because he
they
is
both need
just
that. They
both
need
of them
couples
for sure.
therapy. They need to go to couples therapy after this
They do.
because they both need it.
They do.
But I do
They
feel
do.
like they might work out if they decide to stick together.
I think that stuff's kind of hard. I mean, obviously, I don't know because I've never been in this situation, but I feel like it must be so hard to go from this situation, being so isolated, being in a really high stress environment, and then going out into the real
For
world,
sure, I
having to
agree with
deal
that.
with real world things. And he also has this breakup
To
potentially
deal
on the
with.
horizon and his life that he also has to figure out because, as Zingbot mentioned, he's unemployed, living at home with his parents, which, like, honestly, totally understand.
Having a new girlfriend that has $750,000 probably helps to make a decision.
I guess you're not wrong.
Like, hey, now if she doesn't win the game, then maybe, hey.
Watch out, Morgan.
But if Morgan wins
Watch
that
out,
money, he's gonna be
Morgan.
like, hey, we were a team. We
Easy
were.
breakup. Easy breakup for the old girlfriend.
Hey,
Remember that
he's
probability, Morgan?
unemployed. He's unemployed and living with his parents. He needs that money.
Went from 0 to 100%
Sure.
chance,
Yep.
Morgan.
Yep.
Okay, you do your thing, Vince. Ava and Ashley. They really did try to have their moment this week. Ava was trying to do the work to get Vince to keep her. And I feel like it's another nail in the coffin for Vince. It didn't work, but he made her a promise. He led her on to believe that he was going to keep her, and obviously he ultimately didn't do that. One thing that makes me laugh though is just seeing Ashley at the end of that. And you can just see Ashley is giddy because it's like almost this deep inner knowing for Ashley that she's going to win
$75,000 for
$75,000.
sure. She's like,
She knows it in her
she
bones.
knows that both of them are probably going to try and take her to final two, and she knows that she's not going to win the game. But $75,000 is a good chunk of change
For
for
three
3
months?
months.
For 3 months of sitting in a house that supposedly she did not do any sort of chores. She just took showers all day long.
Yep. Like, I saw that. I saw the giddiness. I also, on the like Ava thing, I feel like they always do this where they're like, "Oh, something might happen," but I knew there was no way that she was gonna stay in that.
It supports Vince's strategy from the very beginning, where if you find yourself in a room and somebody says they want to have an alliance with you, you just say
Just
yes.
say yes, yeah.
And I think that's probably why he screwed so many people over because he just said yes to
Just said yes to a
everybody.
lot of people.
And he
For
said
sure.
what everybody wanted to hear in the moment. I think Ava knew, though. I love that she called a house meeting, but you can even see, and I feel like this supports my theory that the jury, when it comes time to actually vote, they kind of let go of the personal saltiness. Even Ava, when she was on the block, was saying, Vince, don't call me after this. And then she goes to talk to Julie, and Julie's like, did you mean that? And she's like, whatever. It's
For
whatever.
sure. Yeah.
So they do let it go. I do think that Vince has a chance to win because people have played dirty before and won. For sure, not against Morgan, though. Morgan 100% has this game in her back pocket. She just needs to think clearly and rationally and stop thinking about the boys of the house, which has kind of been, I think, consistently her downfall. I wonder, I don't know, don't like quote me on this, but I wonder if you can even backtrack from when crying Zach left. Is that when she found her little mojo to start playing the game? I wonder what week that was. I wonder if we can like line those up because she was so like infatuated by Zach, and then she like found this little like run,
Well, she
and then
still
she
has
jumped right
that
back
little
into
bracelet. She has that
Vince.
Zach bracelet
Yeah, she's
still.
obsessed. She is a woman obsessed.
Personally, in my opinion, his jury management has been awful.
Terrible.
Because I'm trying to think like who's gonna vote for Vince, and I go through the whole jury house. Even like Lauren is probably pissed at Vince that she put her game on the line for Vince, and she left on a. Didn't she leave on a Vince HOH or shortly thereafter?
Morgan, the double eviction,
That double
right
eviction.
after.
Right
Yeah.
after, but she still got nominated in his HOH. Then Keanu also has beef with him
Yeah.
because he also feels betrayed by Vince. Kelly also feels betrayed by Vince. And then I feel like the other members, Rachel, Will, Ava, are probably going to vote for either Ashley or Morgan over Vince. I really just don't think that Vince did what he needed to do to get jury votes. I might be wrong. They might, at the end of the day, all change their minds. They're going to definitely mention this of how his jury management was just terrible.
They'll demand a clear and acceptable explanation from him, but I do think that when it comes to the end, they'll all be, you know what? What do we all have in common here? Vince. Vince pretty much had a hand in taking all of us out. If
Yes,
he is not sitting next to Morgan,
yes.
he sits next to Morgan, Morgan wins. Morgan sits next to anybody, she wins. Vince is sitting next to Ashley. They're going to make him fight for it, is the thing. But yeah, I mean, he just has so much like plausible deniability as a part of his strategy though too, because he can easily say like, Lauren, I tried to save you and I did everything I could, but then as soon as double eviction happened and it was Morgan's HOH, I don't control her,
But
and I
Morgan
tried to save
controlled
you.
him, which is
He
what Keanu's always said. Like, she's literally every HOH that Vince had, Morgan was pretty much pulling the strings.
I guess we'll see on finale night. But also just a quick, how about Morgan and Vince having back to back to back to back HOHs together? That's a if they make it, that's a big brother power couple. I'm not even gonna lie.
For sure.
It's really freaking cool.
But then again, they were competing there at the end against Ashley.
Yeah.
So those competitions were starting there, and I would say, well, it's either going to be Vince or Morgan that's going to win this. Like, they set themselves up to have two weak competitors towards the end,
They did, and it
and
worked
that's
out
what you
for them.
want sometimes.
That's what
Like,
they did.
for sure.
They did it for themselves. It worked out.
America's House Guests. Have you submitted some votes?
I did.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for Ava.
Did you really?
I did. I voted for Ava. I think she was funny, and I think she was just as competitive as your favorite house guest.
Well, you know who I voted
I sure
for.
do. I know you screamed it today.
Now more than ever, because he's for sure not going to win the game. When the voting started, he was still in the house. Now that he's not in the house, I'm like 1,000,000%. Keanu at least deserves to win the $50,000. I feel like he played an incredible game. He made it further than I would have ever thought he was going to make it. He was a target week 2.
And he could have won that HOH that he went home under. He just got too cocky. That was the one where they had to hold the mastermind with the sticks. And he was literally like, I can be here all day. And he's just like looking around this room. Like, dude, just
Keanu, what were
focus.
you
It was
doing,
it was totally
man?
on him. He messed up. He was too confident. And it came back to bite him at the worst
I
time.
can't believe he did that.
At the worst time possible. But I agree. I think he was a great player. I voted for Ava just because she made me laugh the whole time, and I think she's just as deserving because she did make it further than Keanu with a different strategy.
I personally didn't like Ava's game. I don't know. Call me an Ava hater, but she wasn't my cup of tea.
I could just hear you say, "I wasn't your cup of what?"
It'd be funny. She lives in New York. Watch me like
Oh,
imagine that
she's gonna
right
be on
there.
the lookout for you. You're on Eva's hit list now. She's
Oh.
gonna swing on you the same way she swung on that hammock.
Keanu should have won. Now that Keanu's gone, I think Morgan should win the game. Even though Vince, I don't think is gonna win. I think for sure Vince as well should be like considered a top player this season. Man, Rachel just left way too early. She didn't even get voted out. Self evicted.
I just feel like it's the story was the same for Rachel as it was Keanu. And I love that Keanu even had a moment where he said, I should have listened to Rachel, not to trust Vince.
Yes.
But both Rachel and Keanu had similar endings, although Keanu was voted out. It was completely on his own. He could have easily beat Vince in that HOH had he had a little bit of more focus and understood what was on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what really throws me off about Keanu is that Vince. I just glanced in our notes and I saw from 2 weeks ago during the White Locust when Ava wins the first competition to choose who plays
Mm-hmm.
for HOH in the White Locust. And Ava chooses Vince.
Mm-hmm.
And that set off this chain of events where it's just how many opportunities like that outside of the White Locust, but how almost every single week there was an opportunity where Vince had to screw somebody over. And everybody in the house could see this, and still somehow Keanu was surprised by his actions. But by doing the things that Vince did, by choosing Lauren first in that White Locust competition, that gives himself plausible deniability. When Lauren questions him, like, I thought we were final two. Why did you choose somebody else over me when I had all of this trust in you and I continuously did everything I could to help your game? And he can say, well, I tried. Remember? I picked you for this. I did this. And like those kind of little things
Mm-hmm.
can give him the leg up in the arguments because she can't say he didn't try
Yeah.
at least a
And I guess
little bit.
he can say to Keanu that he voted for him when he had to break a tie.
He could even say the reason that you ultimately went home on my HOH is because you put me up like what the week or two before that during the last HOH that wasn't me or Morgan. You put me up.
The one where he was trying to teach him a lesson.
Yeah, and he can easily say, I thought you were gonna flip on me
Yeah.
because you made me feel like you were gonna flip on me before. You know what I mean? Like there's all this plausible deniability that I think can play in his favor. I don't know. We will find out in like 2 or 3 days. I'm super excited. We will have a finale episode
We will have a finale episode.
unpacking the season
Yep.
coming for Taylor and Derek's jobs because they clearly couldn't do it. No offense. And also, just as a quick side note to CBS, if you want people to vote for America's Favorite Player, have you heard of a QR code? I have not typed in a website in literally years.
Yeah.
And the fact that I had to type in a website, come on, CBS, you're better than this. Final notes for CBS.
Well, with that, that's the conclusion of our week 11. I can't believe we are at the end of the line here. Really good season. I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad we started the show on this season.
Our cloud will see you on finale nights.
Peace out.
Bye.